All right, well, welcome live to Riverside, California. We are a couple of minutes away from kickoff, but it's an extravaganza here coming up tonight. It's a game for the ages, and what many peg to be the game of the year, Dan. The Riverside City College Tigers and the Mount SAC Mounties winner is putting themselves straight into the playoffs.
Yeah, and finally the hype's all over. We've been talking about this one for like the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We've circled it in our calendars, and it's finally here. And how much fun is this going to be? I mean, this is a team in RCC that's completely turned around their season since their Grossmont loss down in San Diego County. It's a team that's on a 3-game winning streak. Last week defeating Harbor, definitely with a 31-12 score. Although we didn't see the whole playbook, we got to see a little bit of what our backup running back could do.
Yeah, Christopher Anderson.
It
sounds like you're a little disappointed with the way that L.A. Harbor game went, but is that an aberration given that this has been one of the best teams in California?
No, you're absolutely right. It's because, RCC came into that game knowing they were going to win that one.
Right.
So you kind of pump the brakes on that. You kind of work on things that you need to be that needs to be worked on. And here's an example: Nicholas King. We didn't see a lot of his flashiness that we tend to see in the prior weeks. Mm-hmm. He was held into the pocket. I guess they're trying to develop that side of the ball game. So in this game, I feel like the third down conversion is going to be huge. If the Mounties are able to keep Nicholas King on 3rd and long, I think that might be a turning point.
Right.
That might be one of the biggest things or a focal point for the Mounties.
We're going to send it down to the field for our national anthem here at Wheelock Stadium. The red carpet is out, and these players are sprinting onto midfield, doing cartwheels across that Tiger logo as the Riverside City College Tigers and the Mount SAC Mounties, number 1 and number 2 teams in Southern California, square off with the winner having a front row seat to the playoffs. Dan Gadino, Nick Rice along with you from Riverside, California, home of the Riverside Tigers, and 27 consecutive wins, Dan Gadino, for these Tigers here at Wheelock Stadium, dating all the way back to 2010, the very first season under Tom Kraft's regime, and it's been a dominant last few weeks here at home. It's just been a far different ball club.
It is. At home, they're just emotionally stronger. I guess this big crowd that always comes in, it's a close-knit community that's very supportive of the Tigers. And one of the things we need to keep an eye on is the rushing game. It's a team that's been rushing for over 250 yards in the past 3 games.
That's right.
It's key. That Grossmont loss, they were held to about 47 to 50 yards, if I'm recalling correctly. But, this crowd and that rushing game should be able to hold these Mounties to Should we go into predictions right now, or should we wait?
Not quite yet here, Dan, but you got it absolutely right. When the Tigers run for over 150 yards, they are 5-0. Obviously, Grossmont was the one aberration where they had to run away from the running game earlier on in the season. Now, after a 3-game winning streak, it's the Tigers that are in prime position to, with a win, be in the driver's seat with the number 1 overall seed in Southern California. That running game has been dominant, but Nicholas King has been great as well.
And he adds to the passing game. A team that has currently averaging 444 yards total offense. That's big time. If you're doing that in the NFL, you're probably a top 5 team.
Probably, absolutely here, Dan. Well, it's a packed house here in Wheelock Stadium. one of the loudest stadiums in California in junior college. A packed house of over 3,000 is on tap tonight for the biggest game of the season. And that's not a dramatic statement, as the Riverside City College Tigers and a new dog in the house of the National Central Conference, the Mount SAC Mounties, who last season were snubbed from the playoffs off of a last-second loss to Riverside. Last year, it's the Mounties, who are 2-2 against Riverside in the Bob Jastrab era, who hope to erase some of the disappointing memories that they had from last year. That loss sent them out of the playoff picture. This season, the winner moves on to the playoffs. Meanwhile, the loser is in just about could kiss their playoff hopes goodbye, Dan.
Yeah. This Mountie team is as good as they come. I mean, it's only got one blemish to themselves on their schedule, that loss to Long Beach City. Long Beach City team that is completely turned around from last year, only winning one game last year. This year, it looks like they're a definite power in the state of California. So to lose to them, hey, that's pretty good. I mean, 5-1, it speaks many words.
It's amazing that Mount SAC is winning by an average of 20 points per game. Wow. Meanwhile, their one loss was to a team that last week lost to Chaffee at home. It was a disappointment last week for the Vikings.
And that's the thing about JUCO football. It's an up and down seesaw. It's a roller coaster that's going to give you a bunch of turns left and right, just like this RCC team. It's a team that we were questioning early on in the season, a quarterback controversy they had earlier, and then now it's settled. And hey, now they're on the on the rise now, we could say.
Yeah, every week they've seemed to be a little bit more sharp, a little more poised.
Right.
And outside of some off-the-field issues, it's been a very impressive season here for the Tigers. But talk a little bit about that Fullerton game. We had the fight after the football game and the Brock Carmen ejection. Some ticky-tack calls that really, I'm sure Tom Kraft wants to eliminate tonight.
Well, it's a game they escaped with the victory, so that was big. They won definite. It was a definite victory, but like you said, there's all these things occurring. I'm talking about penalties. I'm talking about these dumb mistakes as far as fumbles and interceptions. And those type of things can be cleaned up. But will time run out? Will time run out on RCC? Will the playoffs come too soon before they could even fix those type of things?
Dan, I do want to ask you real quick. The mistakes, as you mentioned, were a huge concern. This team has a -2 turnover differential and leads the entire state with 15 penalties per game. Is that fixable here tonight?
Oh, it's definitely fixable. I mean, every game is taken as a brand new life, brand new season almost. I mean, that's the approach Tom Kraft. You spoke with Tom Kraft, and we're going to have a special interview with him at halftime.
That's right.
Which you did.
Uh-huh.
And so going into that, Tom Kraft is the type of guy who's going to have these guys lined up and ready to go. He's got the history here. And, hey, we talk about it week in and week out, how guys from other states come to play here in Riverside.
How about other countries?
This is even a huge city, we could say. It's not a Dallas. It's not a New York. It's not a Los Angeles. Riverside, you're coming out here to play football?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Seriously. This is literally the only junior college in about 20 miles in every direction, but it's a team that is prestigious. It's well known. Tom Kraft has turned this from a doormat into one of the best in California. But one other thing I did want to ask you, Dan Gadino, over on the Mount SAC side, they are a team that has been one of the best as far as mistakes go. They're in the top 10 in penalties, a +4 turnover differential, and they're a ball club that ranks in the top 10 in just about everything there, Dan. Your takeaway from this team before we are set for kickoff?
Well, you talk about a potent offense. Here it is. I mean, the Mountains team, they're also, like Riverside, over 400 yards total offense per game.
Right.
So, hey, this might turn into a shootout tonight.
It really is. And it's led by a sophomore quarterback in Justin Allo, drop back from the University of Hawaii. An interesting story that we'll touch on more throughout this game. We're having a delay in the action down on the field as the number 1 and the number 2 teams in California will be just about ready to commence kickoff in a matter of moments. Delay obviously down on the field, but I'd like to give a special thanks to our live stream correspondents for tonight's game. The Chenoweth brothers. Again, want to appreciate all the work that they do for this coming broadcast, that we could bring not only this game, but hopefully in the future, maybe 1 or 2 more. Live stream action sport. Extreme Action Sports, my apologies. Catch them for JUCO ball to go along with Bosco football, the best high school team in the state of California right now. And Boy, Dan, we're in for a treat, aren't we?
Oh, you're talking about – this is actually the best game at the JUCO level across America tonight.
Yeah.
Right here, right in front of us. This is about to take place. Number 1 versus number 2. It doesn't get any better than this. Here we go. But by the way, what's this delay we're experiencing here?
Yeah,
what's this about?
This is a little discouraging.
I'm already anxious as it is, and this is not helping. Hey, but going back to RCC, let's talk about RCC. Hey, 80% in the red zone.
Yeah, that's amazing.
We could almost say it's a for sure fact that this team is going to come away with points. So a big key for RCC is sustaining drives and getting inside that 20-yard line, because as soon as you get there, that 80% is going to carry you into the end zone.
Yeah, Tom Kraft is a offensive genius. He carried his knowledge to San Diego State. He was the offensive coordinator for them for 4 seasons, another 3 as an assistant. And here at Riverside has created a dominant powerhouse here in junior college football. The number 1 and the number 2 teams in Southern California. Kickoff is about ready to commence, and Camacho belted away. Back deep to receive is Aaron Vons, and he'll retreat to his own end zone and take a knee. Out to the 20-yard line goes Justin Allo and the Mount SAC offense.
What a luxury it is to have Jimmy Camacho back there kicking balls for you, a guy who's been perfect with the extra point.
Really?
7 of 10 in the field goal, so his boot is always present in this game. And it could play a factor in the game that could come down to a field goal.
You have to believe that field position, any points,
right,
and really the defenses will be the determining factors in tonight's ballgame. You mentioned the third down percentage. Mount SAC 44% on third downs, a very efficient offense, but in the last few weeks they've come to a standstill. They were able to pull ahead in the second half last week against Citrus to move to 6-1 on the season. 2-1 in conference play. Allo operates out of the shotgun. Handoff goes to Amaris Tolbert to the 20, and off a delay reaches about the 23. Tackle made by Terrence Solomon.
Not much is going to be shown by both of these teams early. Riverside coming out with a basic 4-3 package right there. 2 safeties back there. The Mounties coming in with the simple 3 wide receiver set. So it's going to be a chess match in the beginning of the game.
These are 2 of the most winningest coaches, in fact, they are, in junior college football, as Bob Jastrav of Mount SAC is looking for his 100th win of his illustrious 10-year career. The pass is dropped, intended for Christopher Gilchrist. 3rd down and 7 early on here, Dan. You mentioned the third downs. Well, here you go, early in the game.
Yeah, this is the huge part of the game. Actually, I would say the biggest part of the game, keeping the Mounties on these 3rd and long situations. RCC is a dominant force at defense.
Treshawn Broughton, the Oregon State commit, is 1-on-1 against the number 1, I believe, receiver of this Mount SAC offense. That's Derek Macon, and he's going his way, lofting it deep and over the head of Macon. Wow. But there is a flag down in the area of pass interference, but on 3rd down and 6, it looks like Justin Allo's not afraid to go against the teeth of this Riverside defense.
Yeah, testing Treshawn Broughton, our shutdown corner here for RCC. Right there, actually getting a little bit too aggressive.
Right.
Using his left arm to sort of hold that wide receiver back, and that's why that flag was thrown in there.
It was defensive holding against Treshawn Broughton. That'll be an 8-yard penalty, half of the distance between him and when he created the infraction. So that'll be a, by default, 3rd down conversion. First on the day for Mount SAC. 14:24 to go. Again, thank you all for joining us as we are simulcast on Spreaker.com and on Extreme Sports as well. 1st and 10 from their own 39. High snap handled by Allo. Hands off on the delay to Amaris Tolbert across the 45. And he's dragged down after a gain of 8, maybe 9. Interesting about Amaris Tolbert, the Orange Coast College bounce back. He only has had 1 game of over 90 yards this whole season. Meanwhile, Denzel Foster's had 4 of the such this season.
Yeah, Tolbert's nothing to be reckoned with. I mean, he's the type of guy who's he was showing his eating.
Yeah. Just chipping away at that defense, huh, Dan? Yeah. Handoff goes to Tolbert, and that one was read immediately. Jonah Moy with the tackle. Your thoughts about him, one of the best linebackers we've had here at Riverside.
It seems like you're always calling his name when you went on defense. I mean, he's the type of guy who's going to be in every single tackle, whether it's coming in late after or being the first to hit somebody.
He's going to continue his football at the University of Hawaii next season. One of the more illustrious sophomores at linebacker there for the Riverside Tigers. 3rd and 2. They converted the last one. Handoff goes to the backup. That's Vaughns, and he lowers his shoulder looking for the first down, and he got it. A gain of 2.5. The first down make at the 49, and that'll be 2 consecutive first downs from Mount SAC against that Riverside defense.
Yeah, you mentioned that 44% percentage that they have on third downs.
Right.
It's obviously gone up now, and hey, this is exactly what they need.